Hello, Cougars. My name's Byron, and I'm here to tell you some of the things I learned in the past 2 years of KUGR-TV. I want to start out by talking about interviews. I'm sure you know how to do the rule of thirds, but what some people don't know is that there's an artifact called compression that essentially makes people look a lot better when the camera's a little farther away from them. So in order to get their face to still fill a good amount of the frame, you can just zoom in and step back. This has the added benefit of making your background blurrier, which usually looks pretty good anyway. Speaking of a blurry background, here's some things you can do to just increase that blurriness. First, zoom in all the way you can. Second, make sure that the distance between the subject and their background is as large as you can make it. So don't interview someone like right in front of the locker. It's a mistake. I see that pretty often. And finally, you want to open your aperture as wide as possible for the most blur. However, even on the 50mm lenses, especially on the 50mm lenses, you can get some artifacts as you go too low, so find a good balance. I usually like to film my interviews on the 50mm lenses around f2.8. Mr. Phillipson's buying some more advanced cameras, so maybe this will all go away if you can't change the aperture, but it's a thing I learned. Now I'm doing all this talking about cameras, but what I think a lot of people don't realize when they step into video production is the reason your videos look bad is not because your camera is bad, not because your camera is cheap. It's because you're just not good at video production. And that sounds really harsh when I put it that way. And all I mean by that is, the most years of experience you could possibly have while watching this is 3. And in 3 years, you're just not going to be very good at it. Post-processing is something that people often totally forget about. And yet it can have such a massive impact that really everyone needs to know how to do it. Post-processing can turn an image like this into this, or this into this. I'll keep going examples, but you get the gist. And what I want you to realize is I'm actually really bad at post-processing. I only started it, a few months ago. And if you get started on it right now and work in it for the rest of your KUGR-TV career, you could really get good by the end and come up with some amazing shots and really augment the visual fidelity of your pieces. Here's a random tip about lenses. 9 times out of 10, the reason your footage is blurry is because it's out of focus. The autofocus on these Rebels is okay, but unfortunately people treat the kit lenses pretty poorly, and that can kind of make them autofocus very slowly or not very accurately. And so one way to focus well is to use the zoom buttons on your camera. If you zoom in on something you want to focus, manually focus to that point, and then zoom back out. That way you can get pixel perfect focus in an interview every single time. As you can probably tell, one of the aspects of video production I haven't mastered yet is keeping people interested. I've been talking for so long, and good on you for pretending at least to pay attention until here. Being able to produce stellar videos is such an amazing skill that not many people have. What really makes you better at video production is not any one of these little things, it's the overall drive to make yourself better.